Kick it off, Dad.
What is up, everybody? This is the actual Hit Factor podcast. We don't have all these posers. We have an actual mustache here, not all those little things that we saw before. Potatoes, he still has his mustache, but he's got the whole beard coming back in, which is he should have just like he really has that kind of that northeastern, kind of like a Canadian Mountie vibe. Like if he just kept the mustache, he could be like a Canadian Mountie. I think he could pull that off. And Jeff's going full on cue ball with a beard. I like it. I
Yeah,
think that's the move for him.
yeah, it is. If I fully shave, it's not great. My
It's
little girl
Lex.
makes fun of me. Yeah, so
Well, then you're Lex Luthor, and the personality fits, but we don't want to just let everybody know that that's the case.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll probably stick with this look for a while.
I like it. So everybody is fired up right now. Everybody, meaning Jeff and Potato, are fired up, and so we wanted to get this podcast rolling. The board just came out with a decision, and uh, what I believe that they were voting on. I don't know why they were voting on it at this time because they have all sorts of massive structural issues. We don't have a president currently, or well, Yemen was removed again. I don't know. I don't know which number this is. This the third time? I don't remember which number this is. Uh, Russell Fortney was vice president, so he should have been made president. But then he did not. He chose to step down from
Mm-hmm.
vice president. And is it Jim?
Jim Boone,
Jim
third
Boone
one.
became vice president, which made him de facto president, is my understanding. Uh, and so that's where we're at as far as that's concerned. There's massive structural issues that the org needs to deal with, as far as what the president needs to do and all of that. I think there might be some bylaw changes. Uh, that may I'm curious. Well, I'm curious if they're looking at making changes
They
to the
are.
bylaws.
They're not even going to appoint a president and run the special election until they can change the bylaws again.
Yeah. Um, so
Sounds familiar.
right, like we've seen this happen. It's a different board this time, so maybe like I am gonna say I'm not gonna tell everybody else how to feel. I am at least going to be optimistic because the majority of the board that's there Leif will come in January 1, and who else is coming in
John
January 1?
Burke,
John Burt in Area 2 is
who had
coming in.
already drafted a completely different set of bylaws and circulated them with folks to say, hey, this is what rationalized bylaws would look like
So
before he even joined the board. So, I mean,
yeah,
yeah.
we have new blood coming in. So I know we've heard this all before, but I'm at least going to take an optimistic approach as there are new players involved, and maybe
Yeah.
they will do a better job than the previous players.
Okay.
If you're not optimistic, you don't have to be. It's warranted to not be optimistic, but that's just the approach I'm going to take at this point. And then in the midst of all this, they threw in this vote on Limited 10 and Revolver. And do we add optics to Limited 10 and do we add optics to Revolver? Revolver was a no. We
Yeah.
didn't add it to there. Which honestly, Revolver probably made more sense to add optics to. Uh,
Well, Revolver's funny because the overwhelming majority of people in USPSA, when they polled them, said they would like optics on Revolver. But they correctly said, well, what do the people who currently shoot Revolver think? And none of those people did.
oh,
And
I
and now there's a couple in who shoot Revolver who do, but the overwhelming majority of the people who competed in the USPSA match in Revolver in the last year do not want optics. They feel like it's a repeat of the 8 round to 6 round thing, or 6 round
Yeah.
to 8 round, which gutted Revolver whenever that was, 2015, 2016.
yeah. That surprised me a little bit because the Revolver shooters I spoke with didn't
The
necessarily
ones who
have
came
a.
and took your class.
No. Did I have any revolver shooters in my class? No, I haven't had those in my class. But they were like, yeah, I mean, that's fine. They're already using dots in iCore, so sure, give us a dot. That'll
Mhm.
be cooler. We can compete. We can compete more. Like their scores would probably get a lot closer to single stack scores with a dot. Um, but that was shut down, so that's not happening. But then they did allow optics in limited 10,
And limited optics is no longer a provisional division.
and limited
That's the
optics
end
is
of
now a tried and
real division.
real division. We'll have an actual limited optics national champion because we haven't had one of those. Okay, I don't know. So that's where we're at with that. Now, interesting thing, somebody sent a screenshot onto the Discord on USPSA's. I think it was a screenshot of their Instagram page or Facebook page. I'm not sure. I think it was Instagram, and somebody made a question, or they made a post that, oh, we're finally going to see how these slide ride optics work with major caliber guns. And USPSA's response to that said, no,
Where did you come up with slide ride?
it does not stipulate slide ride. Now that the person doing that is Jake. That's Jake running that. So, I don't know how much do you trust that. That's
Oh no, that is the board's intention. Is that it can be frame mounted.
oh, okay. So, so
Dude, that shocked me. That shocked me. When I saw that. I was like, because I had already expressed like when they added optics to L10. I was like, what? What? And then like the next day, someone put that screenshot in there, and it was like, oh wait, it's not even slide ride. Wait, what?
So it's advocate, not my actual beliefs, but the argument for why limited 10 optics and why frame mounted. So why limited 10 optics is, hey, you've got 40 cal guns and you've got 40 cal ammo, and you're no longer competing in limited. Your eyes are old, you don't care, you've been converted to a dot, whatever. You can slap whatever dot you want in a dovetail mount and shoot up your 40 cal in this sort of division that will be closer to what you're doing with the 9mm slider. And then, well, why the frame mount? It's like, well, now you have like a Skunk Works division where you can experiment with weird things like the Alien, right? Or like the Rock Island 5.0 with like guns that don't actually fit in conventional divisions, but that are not compensated. They're not going to sort of compete with open guns. And so now you have, again, this is not my argument, but this would be the argument.
That's good. That's good. It's not your argument.
And now you can do something with limited 10 because, as we have phenomenal evidence, nobody wants to shoot it. When it was incorporated into nationals, where it wasn't like a freebie, 2 years in a row, it's like you had 6 shooters and then 4 shooters, right? Like it didn't meet the minimum threshold for recognition as a division at nationals 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
There is zero demand for limited 10. I think there'll continue to be zero demand for limited 10 optics, but you're not taking away something that people care about. Unlike, say, production changes, single step changes, limited optics, CO, you're breaking a thing that nobody cares about.
Okay. Well, people do care about limited 10. They care that limited 10 disappeared. that was
the correct move was just, we're going to show that we actually have the courage and the clarity of thought to say, hey, we just added another division that nobody needed, limited optics. The least we can do is take away a division that nobody wants.
Yes.
We'll give you one that nobody needs, and we'll take away one that nobody wants. And
because what they have done, they did not retain limited 10. They've just created another new division. That's
with
all.
Dots.
They've created another new dot.
They've done uncompensated open major 10 rounds.
So how it was, I got a little bit of a justification on it from somebody, not on the board, not somebody on the board, but their understanding was that there are people that they still want to shoot their 1911s, but they want to be able to put a dot on it. So, okay, well, I'm at 10. And then you had people that, like, they have a carry gun, they have, like a SIG 365 or something like that can't compete in CO or LO, but they're limited on capacity. So where's a division where they can go? Well, here we'll make this division. If that is the argument for it, the problem with that argument is if anybody cares about competing in that, none of those guns will be able to be competitive. Like if somebody wants to
a real
win,
division, it will be a frame-mounted 2011 with 141 millimeter mags that are only loaded to 10.
Correct. That and so like it's like, well, we don't want to just make people shoot in open. Well, you've just made open just open without a comp is what you've just created. So like
so now Springfield Hellcat that couldn't compete in open now can't compete in limited 10
Exactly.
Well, you know what we need to do? We need to have a backup gun division, Jeremy. We need another division. But some backup guns don't have irons. I mean, don't have optics. So we probably need 2 backup gun divisions.
Yeah,
Probably.
I would love to hear an actual coherent argument for how they justify this. I can't think of one. I feel like I'm usually actually fairly good about being a devil's advocate, and I really can't come up with I can't come up with a good.
I don't know if yourself, Jeremy.
Yeah, I actually do. I am.
What do you think about that, Jeff? Do you feel like Jeremy's often good at being a devil's advocate?
I think that's hilarious. That's what I think.
No, that's not true. Coming from that's Jeff's experience in interacting with me, because Jeff is such a chameleon that I have to have an opinion. So he never gets to see me whenever I get to play devil's advocate and have multiple opinions.
Maybe it's just nonverbal. Maybe like you're a really good devil's advocate, like in your head. You just don't verbalize it. Is that what's going on?
Maybe so. Maybe that's it.
I could see that. Yeah.
I think that's probably
We'll go
true.
with that.
Yeah. Sounds good. But I would love to hear look, if there's a board member that voted for this and thought this is a great idea. This is going to be great for the sport. It's going to really help us going forward. Come on the show and I would love to hear your explanation for that, because I can't come up with one for you. Not one that makes any sort of sense. So
it's a really weird thing, because like nobody gives a shit about L10. I say nobody. There's a couple people out there.
Nobody does. Absolutely does. Yeah. They don't care about it. There is nobody who cares about it. There are people who occasionally register in it, but there is nobody who cares about it. If they cared about it, there's nothing to care about.
Yeah, it's very strange just to see the board like spending time on that.
Right.
You know, it's like, why was this the only thought should have been, do we kill this division or not? And the answer to that should be yes. But I don't understand making changes to the division. Like, for who, man? For who?
Who are we?
My God.
Just to be clear, all of the people who are like, oh, wouldn't that be kind of cool? Of course it'd be kind of cool. Who has the spare matches to go and shoot divisions they don't care about, because it would be kind of cool? Like, maybe people in the parts of the country where there's 3 matches a week, right?
Like,
so
here's
maybe in Arizona and in Florida. That's great.
Yeah.
You guys can shoot limited 10, right? But if you're me, if you're Jeff, and it's a struggle to get to 1 or 2 matches a month, like during the peak season, you're not going to spend one of those shooting limited 10 optics, even if you think a frame-mounted, Springfield Hellcat would be kind of neat. Because it would be kind of neat. Lots of things are kind of neat.
It's like, I can sit here, and I could be like, oh, cool, yeah, this gun would fit in that division, and then I could go shoot it. But if I want to shoot a gun that fits that division, like, I'm gonna shoot it at a club match. And if I'm gonna shoot it at a club match, I don't really care what division I shoot in. I'm just gonna show up with the gun I want to shoot and goof off with, and I'm gonna sign up in open, and it's not gonna fucking matter.
I was gonna say, we can already do that. It's called open. You can shoot whatever gun you want that's legal in open.
Yeah, exactly.
And people do all the time. So you can even convince your buddies, like, let's shoot revolvers with dots on them in open. Okay. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
You can do that today.
Yeah, you can show up and goof off with any gun you want, pretty much. Any
And
pistol caliber
if
gun.
you're telling me that people are going to spend $2,000, $2,500, whatever it costs, really all in to go and contest the nationals with 12 people in it and have that limited 10, I know that it's not even on the calendar for next year. Exists? No, that's not reality.
Yeah. So, and I don't get it. I don't get it at all. But
yeah, I agree with all of that. But it does bring up an interesting discussion that I had with Bob Crow the other day. We were talking about limited and the future of limited and that sort of thing, because we were talking about what are we going to do with our 40 cal guns, because limited is dying quickly. Like it's gonna go quick. And I made the observation is I actually think long-term future, unless single stack gets killed really in the next couple of years, single stack has more viability long-term than limited does.
Way more viability. Single stack is the only iron-sighted division, maybe revolver, if they keep it iron-sighted, that'll survive. Because single stack is very simple. Everyone gets the same gun. So if you want to race a simple gun, everyone gets the same gun. They're 50 state legal. So there's no, there are legal mags for them in the competitive calibers, which are 9, 40, and 45. All three calibers are competitive. You can win a match with any of them. They're everywhere. The parts are everywhere. The parts are interchangeable. And everyone can buy near drop-in parts and fit them at home to have not a safe gun, but a functioning-ish gun.
Reed Pistol Smithing does not endorse the statement that was just given by one Saul Allen from Maine. But
hey man, my guns seldom hammer follow, and when they do, I earned it.
But from a second gun, not a main gun, hey, I want to go shoot a Western States, or I want to go shoot like a fun match. People really enjoy shooting 1911s. They are fun to shoot. And I get like there's a little bit of a masochist on Jeff's and I part that we want to go shoot 8 rounds at every match that we go to. I get most people don't find that as entertaining as we do. But it is fun to go do that once or twice a year, especially when you get a bunch of people doing it, and it's you get to take out somewhat Grandpappy's gun. I get our guns; they're not Grandpappy's gun, but there's so many 1911s out there. I'm not trying to wax nostalgic here, but there is a sense of Americana whenever you go shoot a 1911 in a match, and there's just some fun element to that people actually. When we get people to go shoot single stack, they very much enjoy. Like that was fun. Like we enjoyed doing that. Now, do they want it to be their main gun? No, I'm not saying they want it to be their main division, and I fully understand that. But I think long-term viability, single stack has a lot of potential to stick around for some of these specialty matches like Western States, which is only getting more popular. That thing sold out quickly, very quickly. It sold out, and that did not used to be the case.
High cap iron sighted 40 does not have a future.
No, 40 is dead. Like 40 is more dead than anything.
There's awesome junior and young shooters who shoot it, but there's just not anybody else. I mean, right? I mean, you can't even get people to shoot it as a second gun who already have the guns. I think Charlie Perez last year just milled his for dots and unloaded 40 minor and shot them in LO. His whole first year competing in LO, he just shot his 40 guns.
Yes, I mean minor. that had more to do with his eyesight than anything else.
But it's like it's no longer. But it was like no longer a viable division for him. So rather, he's like, I can still shoot these. So
yeah, and that's so like there's a little bit. Well, let's just kill single stack. I actually think that would be a little bit of a mistake. Obviously I'm biased, but I think that would be a mistake long term.
I do think single stack needs a standalone nationals. Like, so I think, and I know everybody wants to have one nationals, but I think it's terrible. I think when you have standalones, and you can cycle them around, who gets the standalone, I don't really care. But when you have standalones, that people show up for. If you have even when they had standalone limited 10 nationals, people showed up for it. You had 180 people, right? And a bunch of them were good shooters. You guys did it, right? Like, that happens. If you had a 2-day or a 3-day single stack standalone match with 200 slots, you would sell out. No problem.
Dude, it'd be so good. It'd be so good.
Yeah,
It's
if you were
that's
smart,
JJ Rakaza's favorite gun, like his actual favorite gun. If you ask him, that's what he really wishes he could be shooting.
yeah. Well, everybody wishes they could be shooting it.
They
Everybody,
do. They do.
most people wish they had a mustache, and they don't. So what can you say? But yeah, like if USPSA was smart, look, I don't love having my main nationals early in the year, but quite frankly, yes. If you want to have an early nationals, let it be a single stack nationals that's in June, that's in late May or something like that, because then it is a second gun. They'll dust off their single stack. You will fill that match easily, I think. And
you can run it as a 2-day match for eight stage days.
right.
You can run a 16-stage nationals that's a legitimate. It doesn't need to be 5, 5, 6 or whatever it was this year.
Right.
For stages a day, you can run 8 stages a day. That's not too much. You can get 2 flights through on that, and that also doubles the number of ranges that could do a good job.
Yeah. 100%.
Versus if you want a 20-stage match, we just there's 9 or 10 ranges around the country that can really do that.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. Will we see that?
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, those are my thoughts on the divisions and kind of the long-term viability. I think single stack will stick around.
You could do revolver with it too. You could do a single stack revolver match.
Look,
you're not really cannibalizing the same thing. We only have 30 or 40 people who are going to show up for nationals and revolver. May as well tack them on there.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, and maybe I should support revolver more, but like they literally have their own sport where they already have an action revolver sport. I mean that is ICOR. All of those guys that like they are competing in ICOR, let them have that, and that can be it, because they only show up to nationals anyway, and they only show up to nationals because they want a slot to the world shoot. So it's kind of like, you know what, let them have ICOR, then they have that. That's my opinion. All right, enough on division stuff. Merry Christmas, Jeff.
Oh,
Merry
thanks.
Christmas, Potato. I don't know when this is coming out. It's going to be close to Christmas. Probably our last episode before Christmas would be my guess.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So Merry Christmas to you guys and to your families. I hope you'll have a great Christmas.
Oh, it will be a good Christmas.
You got anything big for Thea, Jeff?
No, not really. I've been trying to find a go-kart.
Oh yeah.
But I haven't been able to find one. She also wants a basketball goal, so that'll
cool.
be easy to find. We've been playing basketball in the garage. I just have a box.
Yeah.
I have a box, and it's just like up on the wall, and we just like throw the ball at it. You just gotta like hit the box to get the points. Yeah, we're pretty competitive. I wrecked her last night. She lost 2 in a row.
Oh man.
Yeah, she was pretty tore up.
Get an adjustable hoop for the driveway.
Yeah, that would be the next step. So we'll probably get one of those pretty soon.
That'd
be
be
awesome. Gifts
awesome.
Picked up, Jeremy?
Yeah. So for Declan, my 6-year-old, he got new golf clubs for his birthday, which is in October. And so it's hard for a 6-year-old to understand this, but that's partial Christmas. And then he also got a kicking bag, a big.
Yeah.
It's like a big freestanding Century Wavemaster punching bag, kicking bag type deal for his karate stuff. So he has that. So those are kind of like his big toys. And then we got him I think it's called a Yodo player. So Katie found it. It's basically, it plays audiobooks, like they're preloaded, but then there's but then it plays books, like they can listen to it, and it plays books that they can actually have actual physical books. It's not just an audiobook. So it will play them books so that they can follow and read along.
Cool.
Katie found it. It seems really cool. So we have that her, Declan, and Cora can both share. What else is Cora? Cora's getting a bunch of other, like, Cora and Declan could not be two any more different than they are. I mean, Declan is
Yeah.
all boy.
Yeah.
He wants to wreck everything, and he does, and shoot everything, and that's great. And Cora is, she just wants to dress up and play with dolls and do all that, and it's funny. It honestly surprises me. I figured my daughter would be less interested in dolls and stuff like that, but that she is. So she's getting a bunch of dress up costumes, I think, and then something, I can't remember, something else. Like the wife does most of the present shopping.
Yeah.
Because she enjoys it. She loves buying that stuff.
Mhm.
I just got a new shotgun, and new sunglasses.
Oh.
And so I was like, yeah, I'm done for Christmas. I don't need anything for Christmas.
What'd you
So
get yourself?
That's awesome.
I got a Benelli A400
Oh, perfect.
Extreme. Yeah, 28 inch, 12 gauge. I didn't actually own a 12 gauge. I had always just used 20 gauge. I had shot mostly dove and upland game, and that was fine. And it's like, man, I really need a 12 gauge, because Cora has been consistently asking, like, Daddy, I want you to go shoot a duck. I want you to go shoot a duck. And it's okay. Do you want me to shoot a mommy duck or a daddy duck? A mommy duck. Go kill a mommy duck. And she's very adamant about that. I don't know what's up with that. Maybe there's some subliminal messaging.
Yeah, that's
but-
interesting. Mhm.
But I needed a duck gun so that I could do that. And this one seemed like it was a good one.
Right.
I don't like buying cheap guns. And I don't necessarily like to collect a ton of guns. Why are you grinning, Jeff? But
So many
it's-
things.
I'm more of a buy once, cry once, and get a nice gun. And this seems like from what I could tell, the A400s should be a really nice
Yeah.
gun that should work really well. So
So you
It'll work
really got
good.
it for Cora. The gun's for
Yeah.
Cora.
yeah, Cora she really was kind of like, yeah, I needed to get a gun so I could fulfill my duties as a father.
So
Yeah,
I have a Super
like it.
Bantam, which is the smallest, like the Super Bantam 20 gauge
Yeah.
Mossberg.
Yeah,
And I would always advise anyone who's interested in getting their kids into shotguns to not buy that, because a tiny 2-pound 20 gauge
oof,
is going to hurt. It's a little more than 2 pounds, but not much more.
yeah,
And it has this super short action, so they can actually,
Yeah.
they can work it. You're better off like cutting down a stock on a 12 gauge and giving them really light loads.
yeah.
Or an adult 20 gauge. But I mean, like, get them a heavy gun,
Mhm.
cut the stock, and fit the stock to a junior. Don't get them one of these tiny guns, because like I'll hold it and shoot it just for fun, and it's like, this is awful.
Oh gosh, yeah, yeah. No, terrible.
I mean, like, again, like if they were hunting, like, it would make sense, right?
Right, they had to carry it all day, like walking
Exactly,
around.
right?
hunting
Like,
quail,
you're walking
hunting
around
pheasant.
with a 7-year-old and they're going to go shoot doves or whatever. It's like, great, here's a gun you can actually carry. Here's a gun you can actually work.
Yeah,
Perfect. But if you're taking them out to bust clays or whatever to just get them comfortable shooting, highly unrecommended. I
yeah,
don't know what I'm going to do with it, too. It'll be like a hard gun to gift to people.
right.
It's like, give it to a friend if I don't like their kid.
Exactly. Hey, this
Here's
this
a box
hurt
of
my
shells,
kids.
too.
Right.
Here's some turkey load.
Yeah. Yeah. So and my wife already has her present, so we had a discussion today, because so last year we kind of did the same thing. It's like, okay, we weren't really gifting each other presents because we already had kind of that taken care of, but we didn't really we didn't discuss stocking stuffers last year, and homeboy here did not fill her stocking up.
And you were
Yeah.
supposed to.
That I was supposed to. That was a problem. I should have. That was my fault. 100% my fault. So actually today I asked Kate. I said, okay, so we're both good on presents this year. I said, do I need to get stocking stuff for you? Like, do I need to fill your stocking? She acquiesced, said, no, it's okay. I'm not putting anything in your stocking this year, because you're fine, and no, I don't have to have anything in my stocking. So that was good. I got off the hook there.
I'm glad
What
you
about
got
you,
that cleared
Potato?
up.
Yeah, it was. I learned I should ask. I should
Right.
make sure expectations are clearly stated. You would think after
That's good.
16 years of marriage, I would have had that figured out, but
Mm.
always learning. Always learning. Potato, what you got? What you got going for kids?
We have Christmas enjoyers, so my kids get plenty of gifts, but not particularly this time of year. It was just my partner's birthday last weekend, and she got an Aura ring. Are you familiar with these?
Oh yeah, it like tracks
Oh,
your
yeah.
sleep and all that sort of stuff, right?
Yeah, so it's fitness tracker, sleep tracker. So and she's gone for a million Fitbits. She had like Garmin's, but she didn't like the big blocky watch. Like,
Yeah.
it's just uncomfortable for her to have like a proper runner's watch. So she'd do Fitbits, and like clockwork, they die
Oh really?
a month of either side of their warranty. So half of them she got warranted, half of them she was just
Oh wow.
had to buy another one. So she's been gone through Fitbits for years. She's a runner. So she wanted this ring, and so got that for her last week. It's super cool. Like, it just looks like a normal ring.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's
I had a
I
friend
like
with
that
one
kind
of
of
those.
stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I
and I
have
got a good coffee grinder, which is like really a gift for both of us.
what? So like a manual grinder or like an electric?
No, just not like a great grinder, but just like a proper mill grinder. We've been using
Yeah.
a chop grinder for 20 some years, and we had an okay one, and it broke, and then everyone we bought since then, they die after a year or so.
Yeah.
So the one I bought has replacement blades and replacement motors on the market.
Wow.
So
Cool.
should it die, I can replace the blades. I can replace, or it's not blades, but you know what I mean, the grinding.
Mm-hmm.
What's
Yeah.
the brand of it?
I couldn't even tell you.
Oh gosh.
I'm such a bad consumer. I'm really,
You
really
are.
bad at this stuff. It's like I go, I read reviews, I like look things, and then I get that one, and people are like, "Well, what'd you get?" I'm like, "I don't know. Maybe it's a Honda." No, I got a Toyota.
So is this one where I borrowed one of a friend a while well
This
earlier
is not
this
super
year.
expensive. This is just like an actual mill, maybe Brazza or something.
Okay.
Might be
His was cool because you could put the beans in and then it was digital, so you could just say, "Well, I want 25 grains of not grains, 25 grams, yeah,
Probably.
grams of coffee," and then it just grinds. It grinds into a scale, and then once that scale reaches that, it stops grinding. And so that was pretty cool. I was like, man, I
Oh
kinda
yeah, there's
want one of
awesome
those.
ones out there. This is pretty minimalist. Like what
Yeah.
I wanted for it is I wanted it to be a mill, not a chop, so not a
Yeah.
blade, and I wanted it to have replaceable parts.
Yeah,
Just because I had bought so many home things over the last 20
Mhm.
years that
Yeah.
I end up having to order some random OEM part from China that may or may not fit the product
Yeah.
when it comes time to replace it.
no, that's cool.
Yeah.
Good coffee.
Yeah.
Good coffee makes the day just a little bit better.
Oh yeah, we're highly dependent on it. So.
Yeah.
But anyway, I felt like I did pretty good on gifts. I was going to get her more running shoes, and I think the Aura ring was much cooler.
Oh yeah, way cooler. Oh, speaking of running shoes,
Yeah.
look
It's
at
pretty
these.
cool.
Look at these. Oh,
Look
they're
at
cute.
these.
Look at these bad boys.
What are those?
These are some topos. My buddy had to warranty some because they're not actually very good quality, and so he got 50% off like 3 pairs, and I got him to buy me one. So just got them, and I ran this morning with them 3 miles, and they're pretty interesting. I've never had a shoe with this big a toe box, and I'm liking that. That's pretty cool. They're fairly stiff compared to the Sauconys that I
Yeah.
had, which were I mean, they were Sauconys. They were kind of made more for like a ultra runners on trails, so they were pretty cushiony. But I did get 350 miles on those plus basically daily wear, so I got a lot of wear on those Sauconys,
Dang.
which was
Yeah.
cool. But I like these topos so far. They're interesting.
I would-
First run on them. You always it always takes me like a month or two before I feel like shoes are broken in and feel good. That's just me. But.
Yeah. Yeah, I was curious how you would feel about a wide toe box. Because I know those Sauconys you wear have a pretty pointed toe. I think they do anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. These don't bother me at all as far as from the toe box standpoint.
Yeah.
Like that.
When you
that
when you
doesn't
put
bother
them
me.
on, did you
Mhm.
look down and kind of feel like you had clown shoes on?
I mean, not too bad.
Not too bad.
Not crazy. I'll say like the heel cup on them. I don't totally love the heel cup. I feel like my heel can slip more in these than in the Sauconys. It's like it's
Have
just a
you-
little bit lower.
Have you tried like the runner lace up with like the extra loop in the back that you use to like cinch down? You tried that?
No, I haven't tried that.
Try.
I don't think
It's like
these-
yeah, they've got the extra hole back there. There's like 2 holes on each side on the back.
Yeah,
And you make a loop there and then you run it back through. Look up some videos.
I would
Right?
have to
It's
get
a way to
new
lock your
laces.
heel in.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
are they
would have
not
to
long
use-
enough to do that?
No, these laces wouldn't be long enough to get all the way back there. So I'll be curious to see how they last because my
Yeah.
buddy Jeff that had them, his original ones
Yeah.
did not last very long. Before
No,
like the
actually,
soles started
hold
falling
on.
off.
Hold on. I don't want to. Well, I am going to shit on them a little bit. So I bought a pair of Topos. Now, I bought them on Amazon because they had the color I wanted on Amazon. And they didn't have them on their website. So I bought them on Amazon. They got there. The soles delaminated. Like, they're just coming off. So I've been super gluing them, trying to get them to go back on. I email them. I say, hey, these shoes are coming apart. I did buy them on Amazon. Would you guys warranty them? They're like, oh, well, that shoe's discontinued, so we're not going to warranty it, but you can buy 3 more pair at 50% off. And I was like, no, screw it. I'm not doing that because then I'll be
He
out
was so mad.
3 pairs of shoes. Yeah, I was pissed. I was
I
like,
sent him a deal at Topo. He's like, screw those guys. Those guys are terrible.
well, I mean, what if those shoes come apart? And then they say the sale is final when they send you that ticket. It's like, well, what if those fall apart? And then I'm just out like $300-400, or $200. So I wasn't gonna do it. And then Jeremy sends me a picture of those.
The
And he's
Mountain
like, check
Racer
the-
3s.
Yeah,
I
he
remember.
was like-
I remember my
yeah.
names.
He was like, check these out. And I was like, what do you want? What size you want? Let's do this. So we got him those. I got another pair, a different model, and I got a pair of their minimalist shoes, which is like a 0 drop 14 millimeter stack, super thin shoe. So I get all those in. Dude, the minimalist shoes, I didn't even get them laced up and they broke.
Oh no!
Yeah. The loop that one of the laces goes through, I like slide my foot in, pull on the laces a little bit, and it just comes undone. Just pops straight off.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. So I emailed them and I was like, hey, I know you guys aren't going to replace these, but your shit's falling apart. And they sent me a new pair of those. So
Oh, really?
anyway, and they're good so far. But as of right now, for Topo shoes that I have worn, 100% failure rate. So, take that for what it's worth.
That is crazy because it very much makes me question because there's reviews out there of like 600 miles, 300 miles, 400 miles. Like there's long-term reviews on these shoes, and it makes me wonder. Okay, are those actual, like they actually put that many miles on those shoes, or
I don't know.
is the quality control just really bad?
It could be a fluke.
Yeah,
I don't know.
who knows?
But that's what happened. So
Yeah, I'm kind of intrigued with this whole that the shoe world, like we've been bunching our toes up for so long that we've been kind of destroying our feet. Like I've got Declan in barefoot shoes. Like they're
Nice.
made by Saguaro.
Mhm. Yeah, I've seen those.
And he loves them. They are expensive, which
Yeah.
sucks. Like $50 or $60 for kids shoes, but
Yeah, which is crazy because they grow
It's
so
insane.
fast.
3 months, yeah.
yeah.
The Earth shoes, 60
Earth?
years ago. Earth shoes.
Oh,
they
yeah.
don't exist anymore. Like 60 years ago, but that's what it was.
Mm.
They were like squared off at the front with like completely open, free toe
Uh,
box.
Yeah.
And for years I had dress shoes that were basically cut like that, and I wear normal dress shoes at work now, and I just take my shoes off at my desk. It's like I'm not gonna
Yeah.
sit there with my toes bunched up all day. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
I'll do it to run. I'll do it to compete, like for a little bit. But if I'm
Yeah.
sitting still, I can't imagine like conventional
So
shoes.
have you always you wore those like wide toe box shoes for a long time?
Oh yeah,
Okay. Yeah, because you've got wide toes, dude. You got wide feet.
I do. I've got square feet, and
Yeah,
I'll
you do.
and I don't know what it's called. I think it's called stupid, but I will adjust to anything.
Mhm.
So I mean, if you give me a pair of shoes, if you gave me a pair of shoes, and I needed a pair of shoes, I would just wear those shoes, and like
Yeah.
I'd get blisters or whatever, and then eventually I'd get used to them, and they'd be fine.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't
Right.
really have a preference or an opinion about it. But if I stop and think, yeah, I'm much happier with big wide toe box, like some freedom on my foot, and then it's just less pain. Like because forcing
Yeah.
things together for me like forces my mid foot up, and it's just not pleasant.
Right. Well, I'll be running the topos because I got another pair of topos here. So we'll see. They do have a
my
nice
shooting
wide
shoes I
toe.
bought are still the narrow stuff because I just can't find anything with spikes I want with a genuine
Yeah.
wide toe box.
The topos are aggressive. They're pretty aggressive. But
Yeah, these Mountain Racer 3s are pretty aggressive lugs. They may not be
They
they're not going to be quite as aggressive as my Sauconys or some of the Innovate like Mud Claw. They're not as aggressive as that, but
I've been running the Auroch and the Ice Bug now this winter, which
Mhm.
have metal spikes.
yeah,
ooh,
But they're micro
nice.
spikes. They're not like proper cleats.
right.
And so you can go on wood and gravel and you're not going to slip and fall.
Yeah.
But if there's any
Interesting.
sort of ice, you have completely firm footing. Like for running outdoors right now, there's black ice, depending on the day, all over the place. So
Mhm.
Yeah, you kind of have to have that.
Nice.
So,
Hmm.
well, so okay, so that leads us into our next things. That New Year's is coming on. Everybody has New Year's fitness goals. Well, maybe not everybody, but if you don't, then
Yeah.
maybe you should. Let 2025 be the year that if you're not a person who stays in shape, let it be a year that you stay in shape. Maybe you go on the carnivore diet for a little while and see how that does for you. I didn't mean to talk about this, but man, I would recommend, like, if you struggle like with a diet, like you struggle to keep a diet or maintain a diet, try the carnivore because it's simple. Like there's no, you don't, I think people find success with carnivore because there's no restriction on how much you eat. Your body will pretty much just automatically cut you off. But there's no reading labels. There's no like, can I do this or can I not do this? Pretty much all that is out of it. It's basically, is it meat and did I cook it? And eat it and eat as much of it as you want. And that's like, it's just that simple. And I think that's why people find a lot of success with it. So that's my plug for if you struggle with a diet, try it. See how it works for you. See if you don't feel better after 40 days of it. Not that you're going to do it for forever, but
Yeah. Even if you don't feel it's on better, which I think you would, you learn a lot. You learn a
Yeah.
lot about how you interact with what you're eating. So it's just interesting.
yeah, I mean, Jeff and I have been off the carnivore for quite a while now, but still having done it, like he and I still talk about how now we're interacting with foods more, just like okay, I just ate a lot of sugar. I had some alcohol and I had a bunch of carbs. So how am I? How do I get? Is my body going to interact with that? What kind of sleep score am I going to get? How am I going to sleep and that sort of stuff? So yeah, very. I think it's very beneficial. It's really good.
Yeah.
So with that,
what are you, Jeremy? What's your 2025 goals?
oh man. So
What do you got?
I haven't talked about this any sort of. Let's just make it public all right here, okay? So 2025. I do turn 40 this year, so there's a whole midlife crisis going on. We're dealing with that. That's fun. I'm old and decrepit now.
Yeah.
Pretty much washed up.
We'll be talking about that all year.
Oh gosh, I know. It's
We're
gonna
gonna
be
make
bad.
some good glue out of you, bud.
Oh, I know. Like, let's just get
Take
the
it into the
process.
daggers.
Yeah, get that bolt going real quick so that it really knocks me out. Don't want to have to hit me twice. I want to go down with the first punch. I want to run a marathon this year. I don't care. I don't care if it's in an actual race or not. Just I'm gonna at least get to where I run 26.2 miles all at one time. And if I'm gonna do it, then it's got to be sub 4 hours. That would be definitely my goal for that.
I feel like you could do that right now.
No, not 26. No, I couldn't just go
You might
26.
surprise yourself.
I think I could get like to 17, 18 and be okay, but that 26 is I need at least a few long runs.
Yeah,
I think.
and like go run a 20 and like see how you feel, and then think to yourself, could I throw 6 on top of that? And you'll find out you can.
Yeah, I think
Your
maybe more
your
like
fitness level is pretty high.
I think maybe more like go run like 13 and then go run like a 18 and then
Well,
run
that's like
like
if
a
you're
22.
training for it, but like if you just want like the confidence that you can do it, just go run a 20. Do it this
Well,
weekend.
we can do a little bit of training for it, so I don't. I will be 40 at the time I do this. I don't want to injure myself doing it.
All right, yeah. Well, you got all year.
You got all year, which that goes by quick. But I want to run I did not run a mile for time this year, basically at all. I mean,
Really?
I ran lots of miles, but I never tried to. How fast can I run a mile? I didn't do that once this year.
Mm-hmm.
And so next year, I broke the 6-minute mile a year ago. So I originally wanted my goal to be I want to be sub 550, which just sounds like, well, you did a 6-minute mile. Surely you can take 10 seconds off. That's no big deal. But dude, 10 seconds is a lot. At that, so my goal would be a 550 mile this coming year. We'll see. We'll just say that's my goal.
There you go.
And we'll see if I can get close to it.
Yeah.
And then my other one would be that I want to do 10 legit Murphs, so weight vests and everything. I don't want to just do one of those. I want to do 10 of those, across the span of 2025.
Okay.
So
Nice.
I can do a unweighted Murph tomorrow morning if I can do that. But I've never done one with a weight vest, so I need to buy a weight vest and then see what that does
Does it
on my
count if you
pull-ups.
just add 15 pounds?
I don't think that counts.
I mean, all of my pull-ups are weighted pull-ups, just to be clear here.
Right.
That's true.
Exactly.
I weigh 210 pounds. They are all weighted pull-ups.
That's true. So I would then be very close to you if I add I think it's a 25 pound. If I remember right, the Murph is 25 pounds for male. I think 25-pound weight vest.
Yeah, something like that.
So I'd be close to Potato's weight, on the pull-ups on that. So I think that'd be a good goal. If I hit those metrics, then I have been pretty consistent with my training throughout the year to be able to get to those.
Yeah. Yeah, those are some good like pretty good fitness level
Yeah,
goals.
yeah. I can't really
Yeah, those would be
slouch
good.
off. Like I can't do
Hmm.
what I did last year and take 6 months off at the beginning of the year and have any chance of getting back to a sub 6 minute mile. It just won't. It just won't happen for me.
Right. Do you have any like shooting goals or consistency type goals?
So yeah, the one thing I really want to do this year is I want to never go more than 2 weeks without going to the range and training and shooting. So making sure that I'm at least getting to the range once every 2 weeks, even in the winter months and when I don't have matches and that sort of stuff, so that I don't ever
Hmm.
have that. Hey, I need a few weeks to get the rust off, so that I can feel kind
Yeah.
of fairly
Yeah.
in tune. Because if I'm going to the range, my natural inclinations, like if you're going to the range and you don't dry fire before you do that, you're just wasting your time at the range. Like if you're not doing any sort of training or practice leading up to it, then going to the range isn't actually going to be productive. Because you'll just be fumbling around with your gun and your grips, and you're not mentally dialed in. Your hands aren't dialed in at all. So by doing that, I think that'll help keep me. I'm not saying it's going to keep where I'm going to dry fire every single day, but it'll keep me much more engaged to like, hey, make sure you get your dry fire in, so that you feel comfortable with the guns. So
That's
that
a
that
really
as
good
Nice.
far
one.
I
as
like it.
like from a training perspective, that's probably that kind of goal. As far as that's as far as I've gotten on my shooting goals, as far as like how my training for 2025. I haven't really done like an assessment. This is what I really want to try to go after. I honestly felt like I'm mostly just going to keep doing what I was doing in 2024 and just actually be consistent with it more, because I
Yeah.
I really felt like I was seeing some good gains in 2024, and things were going well. I just wasn't consistent for the whole year. Just a lot of train for 6 weeks and then don't shoot for 2 months, and then train for 6 weeks and don't shoot for 2 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I
I
think
like it.
that's probably where I'm
That's
at.
good.
Jeff introduced High Rocks, this High Rocks deal. Isn't that what it's called?
Yeah,
High
I've been
Rocks.
watching some. Yeah, I've been watching some High Rocks footage.
So I don't know that Jeff, he might. I don't know. Maybe Jeff and I are gonna go do one of those somewhere. If
Possibly. I
we
gotta get
did
a lot
that,
better at running.
Jeff, if we did that, would we do it as a tandem, as a duo, or do we do that individually?
I mean, I feel like unless I get in a lot better running shape, you would probably be pretty bored with doing it like as a team
Dude, I don't know. Some of
with
the
me.
Okay, so the High Rocks, my understanding of the High Rocks, Jeff just looked at this a whole lot more. Basically, you run a kilometer and then you go do some, like you do a sled
Hmm.
pull, or I don't know what all
Yeah.
else the other stuff, some sort of pretty high intensity type deal, and then you run a kilometer and then you do something else, and you run a kilometer and do something else, right? Is
Yeah.
that basically
Yeah.
what they are?
Yeah, and like the world record's like 55 minutes. Yeah,
That's
it's a
crazy.
pretty long event. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds pretty nuts. So I have
Yeah,
zero
so like
confidence that I could go do one like in the
yeah.
next few weeks.
So yeah, so like a pretty moderate fitness level, it's probably going to be like an hour and 10, hour and 15. Like that'd be someone in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
So,
Uh so we'll see. Jeff, what do you got?
yeah,
I know you've been running a lot. For you you've
dude.
been running a lot.
Yeah, dude, I am trying to get good at running. I've never been good at running. I want to like build my cardiovascular fitness level. So, that's what I'm trying to do. Just easy runs right now. But It's tough. It's tough because like I'm able to push myself way harder than my body is capable of at most things fitness wise, which means over the course of 4 weeks I can injure myself on any plane. If it's
Yeah.
running, if it's weightlifting, it doesn't matter what it is. Over the course of 4 weeks, I can work up and mentally push myself to where I am injured in every way. So that's been the balancing act for me. It's just like, can I do this consistently and keep the volume and intensity low enough to let my body progress without injuring myself? So that's what I'm trying to do with everything, with lifting and running. Dry fire, I don't really have to hold back so much. I don't tend to get injured dry firing, so. But yeah, been running
I
three
feel like
times
I'm
a
the
week
complete
usually.
opposite. I'm the
Really?
complete opposite of that. In that, yeah, I feel like I can't ever actually push myself hard enough. Like if I'm running or working out or anything like that.
You do. You intrigue me. I mean, you're gonna be 40 years old, and I don't ever hear you talk about being injured, and it pisses me off. Like, why don't you get injured? Why don't you get tendonitis and hurt things? I don't understand it, but whatever.
I have had some shoulder pain here the last few weeks, but I think it's
Do
more
you
of
just
a pillow
do you
issue.
just yeah? Do you just not talk about it because you don't want to be a bitch? Is that what's going on?
I mean, there's a little bit of that. Like you try to teach your son, like, hey, we don't complain about little things that hurt. Like if you break a leg, okay, that's one thing, but
Son,
otherwise,
you
suck it up.
ignore your injuries. You ignore your injuries. Suck it up.
But I mean, I think that you're probably fairly onto something in that. Yeah, I don't injure myself because I don't push myself hard enough to injure myself. But
I don't
in
know.
all fairness, I probably should get hurt more than I do because I'm not very flexible. I don't work on flexibility hardly at all.
That's the other thing.
I have terrible flexibility, but it's a little bit at this point. It's like, man, I kind of don't want to start stretching a whole lot because I don't get injured. I've never really hurt myself. I mean, I got tendonitis when I played tennis in high school, and when I was doing the grippers really hard for a long time ago, when I was doing like the grippers really, really hard, I got some tendonitis then. But no, I don't really get hurt so far.
I don't know. It's
I'm
weird.
40 this year, so it may be about to start happening. That's what I'm worried about.
It is interesting. It's interesting to me because you're probably like the only person I know that like doesn't deal with some sort of weird, tendon pain or like pull something or like shin splints or anything. Like I don't ever hear you talk about.
Yeah,
like,
I don't get
I'm
shin splints.
trying to rehab this.
Yeah, there's never any like rehab. I haven't dealt with that at this point.
Yeah, I don't get it.
But I don't.
Why?
I don't work out that
Is it because
hard.
Is it because of all the milk you drink? Is that what it is?
I mean, obviously the milk has something to do with it. I'm pretty skinny. I think that actually probably has a fair bit to do with it. Like I don't.
For joint health, that's probably pretty huge.
Yeah, I'm not carrying around a lot of extra weight, and never have. Like right, like it's not like I have It's not like I have a decade of being 40, 50 pounds overweight, and now I'm thin. Like I've always maintained a good
That's rookie numbers.
Yeah. You've also never really been like a sugar addict binger, so I do wonder if like that has long-term effects, stuff like that.
If you had like inflammation issues with your constant like insulin monkeying from sugar binging.
Yeah. Something
I
like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm not a sugar addict, but I don't do a Jeff. Like I mean, Jeff will eat a whole pack of Oreos. I can't.
Jeremy,
can't do that.
you don't even know what a binge is.
No, I'll get sick. I can't. I kind of can't bench. Like my body's just not capable of that. Like I start feeling terrible, so I stop. It's just like,
you know what the best thing
done.
about running some greater distances is? Oh my goodness, you can eat so much afterwards. It's like when you run 20 miles, you're like, I feel like another sleeve of Oreos. Great. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just replenishing, right? Like, it's like, I'm gonna have another burger. Okay.
That's true.
I mean, you know, because you're gonna hit the day. You know, again, like for you at your fitness level, you run 20 miles, you're gonna have a 2,400 calorie deficit off your over your normal. So you're probably running about 120 calories a mile. You know.
Yeah, ish. Right
So
around there.
Yeah, so you'll have 2,500 calories to make up. You'll finally get to see how Jeff and I feel just on a Tuesday.
It's true.
On a Tuesday.
On a Tuesday. Yeah, so luckily I haven't had injury issues, so I don't.
That's good.
All I can say is stay thin. Don't put on a lot of mass. I think that's actually true of don't put on a lot of mass, just period. Like don't put on a lot of mass, whether that's like a lot of muscle bulk or that's just being overweight. Your joints don't really care that much. And your cardiovascular system doesn't care. Overweight's overweight as far as your cardiovascular system's concerned. So
yeah.
But you don't get those big muscles. I can't keep up with Jeff in the deadlift or squat numbers.
You're acting like I'm freaking beefcakes over here.
Oh yeah.
I'm a pretty average.
5 plates now. He's on 5 plates.
Pretty average
squat.
Huge.
I heard Jeff was doing 495 for back squats for his working set the other week.
No, you heard wrong.
Oh. Well, you know. Okay, so you're running a lot more. Jeff, are you going to run a marathon? You were talking about running a marathon this year?
Mm-hmm.
I said,
I don't know if I will.
What else you got? Because you were going to try to talk me into a marathon.
Yeah. I mean, fitness-wise, my goals they're pretty hefty. Like, I'll have to be super consistent to hit them. Otherwise, I won't make it. I want to run a really fast 10K. For me, fast. I want to run a 10K in 45 minutes.
In 45? That is quick.
45 minutes.
That would beat mine by a lot.
Well, I'm pretty great, so I could probably do it.
Yeah, let's see it.
I wanted to bench 275. I want to squat 350 and deadlift 475. Yeah.
Same day?
Sure. I mean, yeah, probably. When I go to test maxing, I do them all on the same day, so.
What are those numbers right now? No, you would not run the same day you do.
Right. I might.
Not if you're going to beat 45.
I might do all that and then run.
No, you won't.
Do all that and then run.
No, you won't.
Oh, I'm going to do this at a freaking match, Jeremy.
You're going to do this in South Africa.
Yeah, I'm going to do this at the match, and I'm going to show up and kick your ass. That's what I'm going to do. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, you asked what my current... I don't know what my current numbers... I can tell you what my current, last time I maxed was, which was, over a year ago. Which
was what your
was
working weight is, and we can impute from there. You give us a 5-rep max, it's pretty much.
I don't know. I'm not doing 5 rep. I'm not maxing anything
right now. 12.
I'm just doing reps. Just reps with decent weight. I try not to go too close to failure on heavy sets.
That's so weird. What's wrong with you, Jeff?
He's trying not to get injured.
Moderation.
I don't know what
moderation. So my best bench is 240 right now. My best squat is 315, and my best deadlift is 430. Yeah. So those would be difficult numbers
Oh,
for me
so,
to
so
hit.
you're yeah,
I probably
but
could.
it's like your reach goals are reachable, right? Like they make sense from your
Yeah.
previous.
Oh yeah, they make except for the running goal. That one doesn't really make sense. But the weightlifting makes sense. If I'm consistent, I should be able to do that, I would think. But yeah, running is kind of new. I'm gonna run all year. That's how I got
I mean,
consistent
I don't even
with
think your
working
running
out.
goal is that big of a stretch if you don't injure yourself.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So how I originally got myself to working out consistently, because I've worked out on and off my whole life, but in 2017, I think, 17, yeah, 2017, I said I'm gonna work out all year and I'm not gonna miss more than 2 consecutive weeks. And so basically, since 2017, I have worked out consistently because I made it through that year. So this year, my goal is to run all year, and then hopefully I will just be someone who runs after that. So my goal is to run all year, not missing more than 2 consecutive weeks.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then shooting wise, like Jeremy, like I just want to be super consistent. I'm gonna get back to shooting locals. Kind of skipped locals. Some locals I didn't even shoot all last year. So I'm gonna shoot a lot more like in Ada. We have like a little steel match. I'm gonna try to shoot that every month. I think that's great training to shoot like steel challenge, shooting steel.
Yeah.
I just think it's really great for like getting you into like almost like the flow state to where you're reacting. You're learning to react really fast. Make makeup shots and that type of stuff. So I really like shooting steel. I think it helps a lot with speed, shooting speed. Um, so I'm gonna shoot more steel here in town, and I'm probably gonna travel to other monthly matches. I'm gonna try to do at least one a month, like a bigger monthly match up in OKC or Tulsa. So yeah, I'm just gonna shoot more, consistent. I'll probably up my training sessions by like 100 rounds if I can. Do like a 300 round training session or do 2 training sessions a week. Live fire. So we'll see. But I'm gonna be super consistent in like training volume, dry fire and live fire. So I'm excited. I'm excited to get tuned up and be shooting really well and aggressive again.
It's kind of fun to
Hopefully be
have like
feeling good.
a purpose and a like something that you feels like I really want to train for something.
Yeah, well, we've talked about that in the past. It's like, as part of, being a responsible adult with young children, it's
Yeah.
like you get to where you're like, man, should I be trying to train this hard and be this serious about this thing? Or should I be like trying to be more responsible? And then you kind of get stuck in this limbo where you can't really decide who you want to be.
Yeah.
Um, so at least this year, like, we're planning on going to the World Shoot. So I have a really good excuse to stay focused and train really hard, right? So we'll see how it goes. We'll see. I'm excited.
Yeah. And without like dragging this conversation out, I mean, our kids are getting to the point where they're going to start participating in other things. Like Declan's in karate now, and he just got his orange belt, which was cool. And it's like, okay, hey, you got this test coming up. We need to practice a little bit before that. We need to go through, make sure you know all your stances, all your blocks, all that sort of stuff, because you're going to get tested and all that. Well, then his sensei said, well, there's a little tournament here in Amarillo here after the first of the year, I don't know, January sometime, and kind of just seeing if people are interested, if they want to go and that sort of stuff. It's like, okay, do you want to go to this? And okay, if you want to go, that's cool, but we will participate in those if you're going to practice and train for them. If you're gonna practice for them, then we're gonna go. And so yeah, our kids are getting to this point where they're gonna be involved in stuff, and my idea as far as how this, like, okay, we'll do this stuff as long as we are as long as we're trying, we're putting effort into it. Well, the World Shoot is a good example for them, as they get to see, hey, daddy, this is what daddy looks like when he trains. Like, he's training, he's, he's working out, he's dry firing, he's doing this. And so, like, you're setting somewhat this example is, if I want to be successful, well, then I have to put this work in. And if I'm trying to tell my kid, hey, you got to put all this, you want to be successful this, you better put all this work in. And then I'm saying I want to be successful shooting, but I don't put the work in. It's like, well, then tough.
Yeah.
I think it's a much better lesson to teach that by example with your kids than just try to force them to do that. And that's something USPSA, it affords us the opportunity. I can't really go work to be a professional tennis player. I can't really go work on that. But USPSA does give us that opportunity, which is cool.
To not be regionally competitive.
Right.
Really.
Yeah.
To not be winning local races in my age bracket.
Yeah.
Like, it's like at certain point for certain activities, it's not a persistence question and it's not a work question. It's just sort of where you're starting at determines how far you can get.
Yeah.
And at least in our sport, because the ceiling is relatively low, because so few people compete in it, because somebody can dry fire their way to the super squad in 2 years, right? Like, because we have a lower ceiling, you can model persistence taking you as far as you're willing to go.
Yeah.
And you probably won't hit your hard limit. Like, you'll run out of resource constraints before you'll hit, like, this is the best I could ever be. Like, most of us are not ever going to be the best shooters we could be. Almost all of us could be the best runners we could ever be, and then it would be at some point in the past. Right. It would be past that.
Yeah. No, great points. Great points. So I think that's cool.
I think that's true for, like, any niche thing, right? So there's lots of things. Like, honestly, I'm not a fan of golf, but golf's a great example of that, where it's like you could perpetually be getting better at golf. But if you quit everything and organized your life around golf, like, you would not pay the bills with it.
No, absolutely not.
Many people have tried.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, wanting it and working really hard at it is not going to win you a PGA.
No.
So, Potato, you said earlier that you were wanting to get a lot better this year. Do you have things in mind to do that, or is it just like more time? More volume, or like you have specifics?
It's probably lower volume. I've thrown volume at things a lot. So one of the things I did is I did my fitness goals this fall, so that I wouldn't be competing with my shooting goals for 2025. And I messed up my fitness goals pretty bad because I was really going to stress functional fitness for shooting. And then the moment I start doing things, I start chasing that next carrot. And lifting for me is deadly like that. I just can't. I didn't max out my linear progression, right? I gained a bunch of weight. I'm lifting a lot more than I was a few months ago. And I could keep going. And I've just got to pull the plug. And so for me, it's December 22nd after the solstice and pulling the plug. It's like whatever I weigh, I can lose weight. I can lift as much as I want, but I'm losing weight. So very shortly, it means I'm not going to lift anymore, right? Like wherever you're at, you might have a few weeks where you continue and then. But yeah, what am I going to do different for shooting? I'm going to do a bunch of things that I haven't wanted to do in the past because I haven't valued them or because I've thought they haven't applied to me. So I'm going to be, there's really specific. So exits is the big one. So right now I'm obsessed with exits and getting really, really crisp, clean exits. Not just because of the time savings, but because the kind of confidence it takes to exit a position really cleanly is the kind of confidence that lets you shoot the entire stage really well. Like, it's hard to be a confident shooter and have like a conscious exit where you're processing what you saw. Did I see enough? Is the steel going down? Like, can I really leave? Right. So you pay a time penalty doing that. But if I focus on training that, I'm also training the kind of confidence to do the other things automatically and not have those conscious interruptions. So, I mean, this year, I don't know if I'm going to succeed. I mean, at the end of 2025, I might be the same shooter I am right now. I don't know. But I'm going to try a bunch of different things. The training volume, the rounds will look really similar to the last couple of years. I train a lot. Like, I dry fire a lot. I go to the range a lot more than almost all the people who are beating me. So it's not something I'm going to, in the summer, I'm at the range 4 times a week. In the winter, I'm still at the range once a week.
You're pretty honest, at least on Discord, that a lot of your training sessions often devolve into you just chasing something that you just kind of want to mess with, not something
because it's fun.
Yeah, that not necessarily that it's a focused training. Like I'm really trying to really maximize my peak performance at matches.
Exactly. So that's where the dry fire will be different in the sense of doing things I don't want to do. Like instead of doing the things that are comfortable because I'm good at them and I enjoy them and they're kind of intrinsically rewarding, really trying to be present with what a good exit looks like. Like how do I know like what a really clean exit is from what kind of target, and practicing lots of different exits in ways that are kind of frustrating to set up in dry fire, not just the logistics of the target, but they're just not very rewarding versus lots of things. I mean, if I set a really concrete goal, it's rewarding, right? It doesn't even matter what it is. It could be distance, right? It could be a 50-yard build drill. But I can set a thing and then like I'm oriented towards that. This is a little bit more process. What does it feel like in highly varied contexts to have a good exit? And that's just the one I'm fixated on now. Maybe it'll be entries later or shooting on the move or any other sort of skill set. But I want to see what training smarter would do for me. Instead of just like volume and fun, which has been most of my shooting. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Like you do get better through volume, and you do get better by training things that are fun. But it's I also have a clock ticking, and it's like I want to see how much better I can get.
Yeah.
So for the exercise, that's gonna mean I'm gonna stop trying to lift more weights, and I'm gonna stop trying to add running volume, and I'm probably even gonna stop. In the fall, I was trying to do speed for running, which was really exciting because I hate doing interval runs. So making myself do them was really exciting. I'm going to stop doing that because that's an injury factor.
Yeah.
Like max effort running on uneven ground.
Oh, yeah.
There's roots, there's sticks. Even if you go to the track, like you're tempting fate. And so it's like do that occasionally. But if I want to be serious about shooting, like I need my hands and my legs to work.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's true.
That's true, man.
I'm like Jeff. I'm injury prone. Like I know how to stop the activity because I hurt myself. Like how do you know when enough is enough? It's like because something broke and it doesn't work. And I don't just mean about like repping to failure. I mean like oh wow, I can't walk now. All right, that was a good set yesterday.
That would freak me the crap out. That would freak me out, man.
Yeah, I've had so many recent doing things to failure. It's been funny.
That's awesome. That's great.
So
I love it.
means I'm really going to be paying attention to what people who are doing well at matches are doing, to the extent that I have access to what they're actually doing, as opposed to what they might say about what they're doing. Not that people lie; it's just the stories people tell about their training look pretty different from their training.
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
mostly people like to say that they don't train. They're like,
right.
I haven't even been shooting.
And if they're really good shooters, they came up with a story about training like 12 years ago, and then they just repeat that story. They're just remembering the last time they had, not to specific people, but like it's just to, and not really get caught up in that. That's fine. But if I hear something that's a little bit different, instead of rejecting it, like grabbing it, taking it home, and actually trying it. If it feels uncomfortable.
Shooting on it. Yeah.
Yeah,
like
that's cool.
I also wanted to say that out loud so that I would actually do it. A little bit like your guys' fitness goals. Like if you don't kind of put it out there, if they're just private goals, then
it's
pretty
so
easy to edit them.
Yeah, it's very easy.
I want a 6-minute. Okay, I want a 6:15.
Right.
Like if you don't say it out loud, it's pretty easy to turn 6 into 6:15.
Yep, it is. I agree fully with that.
Mm.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good year. I'm looking forward to 2025. I mean, turning 40 is
too.
gonna suck, but
Oh, turning 40
otherwise,
will be easy. I mean, all you guys going to World Shoot, I'm gonna feed off that. Like that's so. I think there will be lots of training and energy out there from people who
yeah,
have that particular goal. So even for those of us who aren't going to contest World Shoot, it's a great time to sort of feed off that and like find people who are doing that and listen to what they're doing and get engaged with that. And it'll move the whole field up.
yeah,
Which is theoretically the point.
That's true.
Of training
That's true.
people for World Shoot, like back in the charter in the
Right.
organization.
yeah. It should elevate the sport. At least the guys that are good at it should. So that is
Yeah.
cool, and that'll be fun to be a part of. So
Oh, one last thing about that, just because I also want to say this out loud. It also means I'm going to go to more locals, and I'm not going to try and win them. I'm going to try and do the thing I'm trying to do at them, which is hard.
Yeah.
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 I love using locals that way. Like, hey, I'm going to try to shoot all alphas, right? I'm going to try to, like, can I shoot all alphas at a match and still have a reasonable time or something? Or I'm just going to go. I'm going to see how fast can I complete every stage. I don't really care about hits. Brown is good, but I'm just going to see how fast can I shoot. Like they're such great for learning opportunities like that and any other sort of
every single
metric.
piece of steel, I'm not going to press the trigger unless my dots are in the center of every single piece of steel. I can go as fast as I want and everything else, but I'm just going to make this decision. What does it take? Not like that's a good way to shoot a match, because it isn't, right? Like the correct way to shoot a match is to have occasional makeups on steel. If you have zero makeups on steel, you are losing time. Like it doesn't matter who you are.
Right.
But wouldn't that be fun, like to go to the local that happens to have a lot of steel and be like, you know what? If you miss it, you leave it standing.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah.
Even if it means your buddy beats it, right? Like if you miss it, you leave it standing. Every piece of steel you can shoot at once.
Yeah. Maybe we should put that out on the Discord. Hey, here's your local, your challenge for your local this month is you set some sort of parameter like that and just see what people's experiences are with that. That'd be kind of interesting.
I mean, if after leaving this piece of standing steel on 2 stages in a row, you bet I'm going to aim on that 3rd stage.
Exactly. Yeah, like, so what does that do with you mentally? Like, you get to the last stage and you've had 3 mics on every single stage because it's like, oh, okay, can I finally buckle down and actually hit every piece of steel or not? That'd be pretty fascinating. Now, if there's a Texas Star or something, I don't know, like that changes things a little bit. But any static steel, yeah.
It doesn't have to be the most fast or the most accurate or the most steel or whatever, but having a goal in mind,
yeah,
and not just sort of reactively and defensively trying to do enough.
Right.
Where then I don't, depending on who shows up, it doesn't. It really doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah, there's just some sort of parameter that you're going to live under. That'd be kind of cool. Maybe we'll have to think about that, and we might do that on the Discord to see if we get people some. There's some people that shoot a lot of locals, so they wouldn't be tough for them, I wouldn't think.
But I want to see someone with 7 mics on the match because they actually only took 1 shot at steel.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. That would be me. That would 100% be me if I had to do that. So. All right, boys. That's a good one. Merry Christmas to everyone. I hope everybody has a great Christmas. If you get this far, thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys in the new year.
Yeah,
Break
buddy,
it like
I thought
a
you were gonna
biscuit.
say don't shoot like a coward there for a second.
Oh, no, not my style.